A lot of people think the M4 iPad Pro costs a ridiculous amount of money. And yeah, it does cost a ridiculous amount of money. The price tags start at $999 for the 11-inch model and $1299 for the 13-inch model. And this guy right here, my M4 iPad Pro, actually cost a little over $2,000. So they go higher and higher depending on the specs that you get. And a lot of people on my channel comment and say, oh, this is a massive waste of money, Tech Dad. The iPad Pro is just an expensive toy. But here's the interesting thing. Of all the iPad models, the iPad Pro is the top selling model. Why is that? Why are people rushing into the Apple Store and despite the price, they buy the Pro model? Now, another interesting fact is that the A16 base iPad is the second most sold model. So people are caught between this, I want the most expensive thing and I want the cheapest one I can get. And it's true, this base A16 iPad costs $350. So I could get almost 6 of these for the price of this guy right here. I could supply iPads to my whole family if I got this model, or I could get this one. Well, what are you saying, Tech Dad? Are you saying we shouldn't buy an iPad Pro? Not necessarily, because I believe that the M4 iPad Pro is not a waste of money for everybody. In fact, I think there are 3 categories of people that it makes sense to buy an iPad Pro if you fit in one of these categories. And so a lot of people come to this channel because they're trying to decide, man, should I splurge and buy this iPad Pro or should I just go with the cheap one? Very common question on my channel. And so in today's video, I want to talk about these 3 categories of people, and if you fit into one of these categories, you definitely are the right person to be buying this model of iPad. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so the first category of person that should be buying an iPad Pro is the power user, and I would say I definitely fit into this category. Well, what do you mean by that, Tech Dad? Who fits into the power user category? Well, let me give you an example. So right now, I'm using my M4 iPad Pro as my production studio, and so I've got my iPhone 16 Pro Max, that's serving as my camera, and it's feeding via Bluetooth right into my iPad from Final Cut Pro. Now, in addition here, I've got my iPad Pro hooked up to my Apple Studio display, and this is serving as my port hub, and I've got a lot of things plugged into it. I've got this microphone plugged in, I've got this hard drive so I can access some video files, and I got a lot of windows up here. So I got my script, I've got Apple up for some iPad stats, I've got my files, and I've got messages up in case the wife or the kiddos text, and I can't be missing those texts. Now, that's just one example of how I power use my iPad Pro, but you don't have to be in video production to actually use your iPad Pro as a power user. And in fact, I bought this iPad Pro because I wanted to use it in my day job for project management, and I wanted to use it in my night job for teaching. And I've got lots of content where I show you how I use my iPad Pro for those 2 jobs every single day, and it's awesome for both. So I use the Microsoft apps to complete all kinds of projects such as Planner. I've started to use Microsoft Planner a little bit more in project management, really like the Kanban board setup, and it's just easy to organize the cards and set up tasks, and then I like to AirPlay it when I'm presenting at work. And I've also shown lots of content how I use the iPad with Apple Pencil and how I can write out math problems, demonstrate to students. I love the form factor of carrying it around the classroom. If you want to check out some of my other content on how I use the iPad for productivity, I encourage you to do that. There's a whole bunch on this channel. But if you're a power user, if you intend to use the iPad Pro as your main computer, for example, like I do, if you're going to be taking this thing into the office, or if you travel a lot and you need a form factor that's really portable and still has a lot of power, this thing is awesome for you. All right, so the second category of person is you enjoy a premium experience. And so before I can even get into talking about iPads here, I want to give you an example of this because this fits in a lot of different lanes of life when we're making any purchase. So many years ago, I used to be a car salesman, and I actually sold Dodge trucks. And I used to have this customer come in every single year and buy the most expensive, biggest truck on the lot. So I'm talking about like the gigantic Ram dually, the truck that should be on like a construction site or a farm hauling huge loads or towing massive amounts of weight. So this guy didn't do any of that. He had an office job. And when we were car salesmen, we were taught that you should push people towards a car that fits their lifestyle. So I would ask this guy, hey, are you doing any towing? Are you going to haul some big loads with this truck? Are you hauling a camper or a boat? And he was like, nah, I just like driving it around. I just like the way it sounds. I like that the cab is really big inside. And I told the guy, dude, this is a massive waste of money. It's really gas inefficient. You have an office job. You live in a neighborhood. Why do you need this truck? This truck doesn't make sense for you. And he would say, look, man, I like the premium experience. I like how the truck is big and how it sounds. And I just like riding around in it. And if I've got the money and want to buy it, I'm going to buy it. I learned a valuable lesson from that guy. Some of us just enjoy a premium experience. And that's what this iPad Pro is. It is the best of the best experience for an iPad. It's got the OLED display, which is ridiculously good. It's got the 120 hertz refresh rate on this display, so everything is snappy and quick and looks beautiful and responds to touch very quickly. It's got the best of the best processor, the most RAM. It can go up to 13 inches in display size. I mean, this is the best premium iPad experience, and that's why people buy it. Doesn't matter the price, as long as they've got it in their budget, they buy it. And if that's you and you've purchased an iPad Pro, you shouldn't feel guilty about it. You should enjoy your premium experience. And most people who own their iPad Pro aren't using it as a power user. They literally just watch Netflix and browse the web. But they're getting the best of the best experience in those worlds. All right, category 3 is you are both category 1 and 2. You're a power user and you enjoy the premium experience, and that is totally me. So I like using this iPad for every single thing it can do for work, but I also just like using it for leisure and just sitting and watching a show. I sit and binge gaming on this in bed for hours because the screen is so good and the refresh rate is so good for gaming. I mean, everything just looks spectacular on it. So I use my iPad for the iPad things and I use it for the work things. And so maybe you fit into both of those categories. You love that premium experience and you use this thing for all your work. And I have lots and lots of people on my channel that say they absolutely do both of those things with their M4 iPad Pro. They get all their work done, and then when it's time to play, they play hard on this thing. So is the iPad Pro a massive waste of money? Not for everybody, and it really just depends on what you want in life and what you want to do with your money. If a premium tablet's important to you, then buy it. So let me know in the comments below why you purchased your M4 iPad Pro. Why didn't you go with the cheap one? Why did you go with the top-end model? I'd love to hear what you have to say about that. Leave a comment. I'll take a look at those. That's all I got for you. If you like this sort of content, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.